Welcome to the Spiritual Capitalist Show. I'm your host, King. Again, as we begin to explore the ideology of spiritual capitalism, I wanted to invite back Nkenya Yasin from Learning How so we can begin to talk about how her business is implementing the 10 Commandments of Spiritual Capitalism. So, for those who may be new to the show and new to the movement, new to the ideal, allow me to explain what spiritual capitalism is. Spiritual capitalism is based on a book by Michael E Hendren, which is a philosophy that animates the spiritual power of love combined with empowerment, liberation, and transformation with capitalism, quantum performance, and productivity, and astute financial management. It's about managing the head and leading with the heart by integrating the power and intellect of the mind with the transformational power of love. And our guest today is, again, founder of Learning How and real estate investor and community activist. And I consider her to be a spiritual capitalist, Nkenya Yasin. Welcome to the Spiritual Capitalist Show. Nkenya, how you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me again, King.
Well, like we always like to begin every show, everything that I do, I always want to know what your spiritual energy level is from 0 being life sucks to 10 being life is awesome. Where do you
And
fall into that?
as every other cast and every day that I wake up, I'm always off the chart. And my favorite numbers is 7. So I'm going to pick a 25 today because that will be a 7. So I'm always a off the chart.
Yes, absolutely. And for those, again, who may be new to spiritual capitalism, I definitely encourage you to read the book by Michael E Hendren. And you're going to learn today why we're advocating this as a model that we believe can stop the hate and divisiveness in the world today and bring the world closer together and help us build more fully human connections. That's what the goal, that's the mission of being a spiritual capitalist is. So we're going to go through 5 of the 10 commandments today with Nkenya. We're going to schedule another session with her next week. So we're going to talk about specifically how Learning How is implementing the 5 of the 10 laws of spiritual capitalism. So we're going to start number 1 with the first commandment of spiritual capitalism is defined as is that business is a spiritual experience. So I like Nkenya to do is define how Learning How is a spiritual experience for you.
So I think once you thank you for that, King. And I think that's a great question. I just want to start by, although I have not finished the book, Spiritual Capitalism, I am reading it and I am really enjoying it. And as I look through the 10 commandments on your background and the 10 commandments as I've, just downloaded online, I really can see how reading the book can help you be more intentional if you're already on that path. So how I would define my business as a spiritual journey or my life period. I think once you really own what your purpose is, your God-given purpose, things just start aligning with that. And so what that looks like for me in my business is making sure that the lives that we are impacting is in love, the teachers that we are working with in every area of the business, like every pocket of the business, making sure that it is done in love. That's the spiritual business looks like to me.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, what do you see as the second commandment of spiritual capitalism is don't shrink or play small in this world? And with that, what do you see as Learning How's financial goals? Speaking of the capital you're looking to raise, and then why you want to raise the capital.
So for me, don't shrink or play small looks like understanding that there's an infinite power beyond you that you can always tap into. So not letting your current circumstances hinder you from thinking as broad as you would like, to understand that you are in the driving seat of where you are going to go. So really understanding that there you can think as broad as you would like, and the ceiling is the one that you create. I just realized that I have earrings on that say love too. I know that's probably a squirrel that I got distracted, but I just saw it hanging and I just thought that's amazing. But anyway, so I think it's just really owning what your capacity is and where I mean, not having a limit on where you can take your business. And so what that looks like for me, what we're working on right now, is flushing through the methodology of learning how and deciding like what things are relevant, what things are just general across the board, what things are specific to communities, and we're creating a playbook that will be replicatable for other individuals. So the way that we plan to grow in learning how is not just opening up facilities in different areas. It is creating that methodology, licensing it, and having that model to empower other individuals. So and helping them see how they don't have to shrink or play small. And so what that looks like, Baltimore City has over 300 home providers. And I know when I was a home provider, just going back to my own experience, that one of the things that my next aspiration or goal was to open up what we have now, a learning how facility. And so our growth strategy looks like creating that model to empower individuals that are already in this space, loving what they do, and having them to fine tune and grow their establishment for their businesses. And what that will look like is having them to appreciate owning the real estate that they have to help build generational wealth, having them to make sure that they're using an evidence-based curriculum. All of those things will be in our playbook. So our goal in expanding is by empowering other individuals just like myself to be able to have sustainable businesses.
Well, you definitely answered the question with regards to how you don't shrink or play small in this world. But my question, if you don't want to share, what I asked was, what's your financial goals for how much capital you're seeking to raise? And you kind of got why you want to raise the capital, but do you want to share that as well? Why are you reluctant to share that?
Oh no, not at all. To attain our goal, we will need to at least raise $1.5 million. And we can go into that. I have all of the projections, and I could pull it up on the spreadsheet if you like. But if you and so yeah, it's going to take about $1.5 million, and we can identify that. Of course. At a later time, that'll take a little while to go through that spreadsheet to really help you understand. But it would be our goal. We're seeking to raise $1.5 million.
You gave an excellent answer to how you don't want to, how you not shrinking or playing small in this world. So thank you definitely for articulating that and then sharing us what your financial goals are as well. So now the third commandment of spiritual capitalism is that you dare to love and the numbers will follow. And as you mentioned earlier, you're wearing earrings that have love on them. So you definitely dare to love. I know that you definitely have bracelets and you intimate love in what you do and what you say and how you interact with people. That's the energy that you give off. So I want you to explain in 4 different ways, because I wanted to really break down dare to love and numbers will follow so people can really understand it's not just talking about money. This relates to numbers will follow. We're talking about numbers in several different ways. For example, I want to start with number 1, explain learning how's estimate number of families you intend to impact. Again, just a broad estimate.
So I forgot what I was going to say. I wanted to answer one part first. I wanted to say I wanted to address that concept, dare to love, and or that rule, that commandment, dare to love and the numbers will follow. I want to say that I have not always thought that way. And even though I thought that way prior to reading this or starting to read this book, I want to just make a statement and testimony as to how that came about. So I've always been a hustler. I've always worked. I've been doing I had a not lemonade, frozen cup business when I was about 10. So I've always been a hustler, and I attribute that to my dad taking me out every day. He was what they call in Baltimore City a street peddler. He bought merchandise and he walked and sold it, literally walked and sold it. And he would have me go in barbershops and everywhere and selling things with him. In the winter, it was selling hats. And then I always like to um, attribute my motivation and my hustle to that. But one of the things that I learned in all of those hustles is that you stay in that hustle mindset. You know, I need to buy merchandise because his goal was survival. And so I adopted that. So initially, although I've always been a great person, I've always served, I've always done great things, I looked at things as this is something I could sell and I'm really good at it. I'm good at sales. I could sell water to a well. And so I was really, because I was so good at that, I didn't appreciate where that kindness that was in my heart, that because everything was, I mean, I didn't have I'm trying to think of how to really grasp this concept. But anyway, let me fast forward. You'll still get my point. In doing that, I stayed on this hamster wheel, right? Of just paying my bills, being able to get nice things, but I wasn't fully fulfilled. When I shifted to being really intentional with everything that I was doing and not considering what the financial benefit was of it, and that's when things started to work for me, and that's where I got my most satisfaction. So when it says dare to love and the numbers will follow, that means a lot to me, because as a hustler you have the mindset that long as I can get the deal done, right? But for me it became more of how many people can I impact, what is it that I need to do, and everything started following. Like that was when I got off of that hamster wheel, where things started aligning, where I was meeting people that was opening doors for me, where it just changed when my focus was more about love and not about the actual transaction of making money. So I wanted to start there before I went into the four parts, because that's really important for me, because I think that so many people get caught in the transaction, how much money you can make from this business. And there's so many things that I turn down now that I know that I am in a financial position to be able to invest in, but it's not where my heart is. It doesn't align with what I'm doing or the love that I know I have to put out in order to receive what I need back. So that's that. And then your question was, I know I went on a tangent, but I needed to make that point for that. You said the four what?
I said I wanted to break that down into the four numbers. When I say that dare to love, the numbers will follow the four areas. So the first area was, and again, you're not going on a tangent, so thank you for taking time to go through the questions. Is what's your estimated number of families you intend to impact within the how mission?
Oh, for now, the whole Baltimore City. But learning how is because of the services that we provide. And if you need concrete numbers, then we'll say we'll throw a number out there like 1,000 families over the next year. But I want you to understand how many people are affected by one family. So when learning how takes in a family, even though it may be a 3-parent household, when you open your space up to home learning instruction, and even though you're not servicing those children, you have resources for their neighbors, you have resources for their uncle who is coming out return who is a returning citizen. You have a financial literacy workshop that supports their grandmother. You have an energy assistance program. So directly, we will have about 1,000 students that we will enroll over this next coming year. But we will affect a number beyond, well beyond 1,000.
Absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out. Shows that you totally understand your target market, and more importantly, you understand how your stakeholders are going to be benefited from what you're building and what you're doing. So that shows clear mastery of that. So I appreciate you defining that in that context. Now, explain learning how's estimated number of jobs you plan to create as well.
So right now, our current facility has 7 employees. And the each facility that will open will have a minimum of 10 employees. We are in the process of hiring now. We have a capacity to employ 12 individuals. That's full time with benefits. And so the each center that we open will be able to employ at least 12 individuals full time with benefits. However, the other things that come along with that would be the build out. So if we want to count those individuals as well, we've had contractors that we've been able to employ. We've had transportation companies that we've been able to employ, the services that we offer outside of childcare, horse lessons, and we've, directly we will, each facility will employ a minimum of 12 employees. But again, that the opportunities are endless.
Absolutely. So the third part is, please explain how learning house estimate number of leaders you would create.
So there are several. I guess it depends on what place, how we're measuring leaders. And so with the current center, we have a director, which is myself, and then we have uh 4 lead teachers. And so because we have 4 classrooms, so if you were counting leaders in that capacity, but everyone here is a leader. That's what the beauty, one of the beautiful things about learning how is that we empower everyone as a stakeholder to be a leader in our program. Parents, we have children that are leaders, but if you want to count directly, it would be 5 titles of leadership, but everyone here is a leader.
Absolutely. And then the last one is more in line with you as a leader as it relates to improving these numbers and implementing these numbers. How do you best serve as a leader in order to make sure these numbers, that you reach these numbers?
So I think the greatest asset to any leader is personal development. So I think the professional development, the spiritual development, everything that I do is surrounded around myself and how can I become a better me? Because becoming a better me will always keep me aligned with the one of my favorite books that you introduced me to, which is the 4 Agreements, and it will always which will keep me always detached from the outcome, not to have expectations, and definitely not to take anything personal. So I think working in low income communities, you have to make sure you are armored up in such a way that you know how to address things and not take anything personal, because you're going to be attacked. I guess that might not just be exclusive to low income. That's just where my experience is. Maybe you're attacked at every level, but I know you're going to face some difficult challenges, and you have to be prepared to be able to deal with them, because it's not going to be a easy road.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now we're going to move on to the fourth commandment of spiritual capitalism, which is embrace leadership as a sacred responsibility. And so now, with that commandment being stated, question is, how do you manage your staff and align with your community stakeholders through your events you hold? I know you hold several different events, nonprofits you support, donate money, and just your engagement in that. How do you manage your staff and make sure that everything's in alignment with your vision of how you see yourself as a leader with a sacred responsibility?
Um, so I would say that for me, managing staff has been a blessing, because we have found individuals that only align with the mission. And then those that did not align with the mission did not work out. So I'm really grateful that everyone that we have on board aligns with the mission. And so management looks like um, helping them to do the same thing that I just mentioned in the previous question, what is the personal development, like what are you doing, and really supporting them in their vision and their goals. So I don't expect for everyone to stay with learning how forever. Everybody has their own dreams and aspirations. So the way that I manage that is helping support their visions in what they want to do. We have a teacher that's interested in opening up her own catering business one day and purchasing a building. And we spent this last weekend going to look at buildings over on Baltimore Street that just hit the market, and putting on suits and going in there and helping her flush out her vision. And so it's really helping people. I mean, that I also would say that's one of my gifts, helping people reach their highest potential, or whatever it is that they want to accomplish. Not highest potential, I don't want to take ownership in God's work, but helping people to really see and appreciate what they are able to do. And so really supporting them. And I want to continue to grow and expound on that. I want individuals to have ownership in what we're creating. I want not only for them to buy into the mission, but benefit from the mission. I want that bottom line to be dispersed in a way that shows that I really believe in them as a part of why we are successful. So it really looks like supporting people and helping them grow in the best way that they want to grow.
Absolutely. And you kind of covered the next commandment in that answer, which is develop management into an art. And so you talked about how you keep your employees engaged and how you give them the opportunity for them to grow through personal development and growth as well. But I just wanted to give you an opportunity just to talk briefly about some of the events that you've done for the community that you've put out so that folks can get an understanding of how you're living as this spiritual capitalist and how it manifests into the community that you're working in.
Sure. So we have two upcoming events that I'll plug really quickly. We have a a Thanksgiving dinner that we're hosting on the 21st of November, and then we have a Christmas brunch that we're doing on. I think it's the Saturday before Christmas. We're doing a Christmas brunch and toy drive and giveaway. But other than that, we've done several community events with our neighboring associations. We have done hippie. What we just received a grant from the Family League, so we've done a hippie workshop, which is helping parents appreciate being their child's first teacher, and going into the homes and helping them to learn how to teach curriculum. So we've done several of those workshops. We've partnered with the local Judy Center to do their harvest festival. We've done several financial workshops with Keller Williams. We've done home buying seminars with Hope. Hope. What is it? Hope is the name of the overarching organization.
Housing Opportunities and Planning Enterprises.
There you go. Yeah, we've done several workshops with them. We have done workshops with the Baltimore Community Mediation. We have done, I mean, you name it. So we are community. So anything that's happening, we're there, we are part of, we're figuring out how we can support, because we know that it takes a village to do what it is that we need to do. We can't do this heavy lift alone.
Absolutely. Well, I know that you got a lot going on. You got a lot of children in there looking to learn how, and we don't want to keep you too much, but I definitely want to thank you for your investment of time and energy today. Again, we were only going to go through 5 of the commandments, and then we'll go through 5 additional commandments in our next call next week. But I wanted to thank you for being a spiritual capitalist, being a community leader, and having the impact that you have. And our goal as your coach is to help you raise that capital so you can be successful. So again, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the Spiritual Capitalist Show. Again, our goal with this show is to really show you real case studies of how companies, conscious leaders, spiritual capitalists are living the 10 commandments, even though they might not call themselves that, but they're living that, which is why we want to make this movement much more broader and help people understand what spiritual capitalism is all about. And together, we hope that, again, we want to use it to stop hate and divisiveness in this world today. And by adopting this ideology and focusing on building more fully human connections. So with that being said, again, thank you, Nkechi Yasin. And I want to wish you a remaining blessed and productive part of your day.
Thank you.